let's continue to find out more about what we don't know and illuminating answers and the right questions to ask using ChatGPT for specifically our business. And we're going to get more specific on questions. So we got more specific and we asked, what are 10 questions I can ask for opening my own coffee shop? I'll be selling various items like drinks, breakfast and lunch, and coffee-related merchandise like trendy items for drinking coffee at home. And it came up with 10 great questions to ask ChatGPT. What is my budget for starting a coffee shop and how will I finance my business? What is my target market and how can I cater to their needs and preferences, which is a great question. And what location will be best for my coffee shop and how will I evaluate potential sites? That question, I'm actually really curious to see what ChatGPT will answer that I'm potentially not thinking about. This is great. So it's going into detail on considering the demographics in the area I'd like to open my coffee shop, foot traffic, with really keeping in mind that you want to have a location with high foot traffic, accessibility, competition, rent and expenses, zoning and regulations, and community support, with a nice little breakdown of each of those terms. And these all act as a great jumping off point to do before you start enacting any of the physical side or spending money or putting the pieces together, because asking the right question here can save you so much more time and a headache not down the road by missing and not knowing what you don't know and making mistakes. So let's move on to another question of what are your competitors doing to gain success or drive sales? Of course, you can continue to go down breaking these different bullet points up into more elaborate answers or move on to a next question. So let's do that. What are my competitors doing to gain success or drive sales? So here's our answer. ChatGPT wasn't able to get specific information on my competitors in this scenario, but it still offered some good strategies for coffee shops to leverage and create more success and drive more sales. So offering high quality products, creating a brand and atmosphere at the coffee shop, providing excellent customer service, using promotions and loyalty programs, partnering with other businesses, emphasizing sustainability and social responsibility, and lastly, leveraging technology, which is what we're doing in this situation right now. And as my last example, as we're going down this rabbit hole, what I want to ask it is, what are some trends that have been observed in the coffee business in recent years that are likely to continue in the future? So we're going to learn about past successes, past trends that are really likely to continue in this specific business. So lastly, it's honestly identified some really great trends about specialty coffee, more craft, local brewed coffee, and convenience, mobile ordering that's been so much more popular these days. And really just all these points could literally be copied and pasted into the overall plan for going after this type of business endeavor. So that should illuminate the right questions to ask ChatGPT to really learn more about what you don't know. And even if you don't know the question to ask ChatGPT, you can ask it to tell you the right questions to ask in the first place, which is an incredible tool to use.
Now we're going to ask ChatGPT to assist us in our job search. In a previous lesson, we asked ChatGPT to write us a resume. Now I'm going to ask, based on my resume, what jobs would I excel at? And I'm pasting below the resume that ChatGPT wrote us. Great. So you can see here that ChatGPT gave me a list of jobs that I would be well suited for. Just for fun and to expand my horizons a little bit, I'm going to ask for what are 5 other jobs that I could be well suited for. Great. You can see that ChatGPT came up with some different examples, and honestly, some of these I haven't even thought of, but there's some pretty good ideas here. Now, just for fun, we're going to say that Lionsgate Productions is hiring a new music supervisor, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT, based on my resume, what would a recruiter at Lionsgate find positive or negative? So, what would a recruiter at Lionsgate hiring for the music supervisor position find positive and negative about my resume? Awesome. So you can see right here, these are a list of positives that a recruiter in this position would find in my resume, while these are a couple examples of some negatives. I could ask ChatGPT to expand on the negatives and possibly even help me overcome them depending on what they are. In this lesson, we'll be going over how to prepare for a job interview using AI. My prompt is, what are the top 10 questions for a music supervisor interview? So as you can see here, we have 10 questions that might be asked in an interview scenario for a music supervisor role. Now I'm going to ask for a mock interview. I want you to act as the interviewer for a music supervisor role. I will be the candidate and you will ask me the interview questions. I want you to only reply as the interviewer. Ask me the questions one at a time, waiting for my response before asking the next question like an interviewer does. Let's begin with, hello, my name is Benza. Hello, Benza. Thank you for joining us today. Can you start by telling me a bit about your experience in music supervision? What projects have you worked on in the past? I've composed for various short films, including Tooth and Maslow, and spent 2 years curating for Western Washington. That sounds like some great experience, Benza. Can you walk me through your process for selecting music for a project? How do you determine what will work best for a particular scene or sequence? Well, it all comes down to emotion. First, we decide on what the desired effect the music is supposed to have. Then there's a bit of trial and error trying different pieces until we finally find the perfect fit. Can you describe a time when you had to work under a tight deadline to find the perfect piece of music for a project? How did you manage to complete the task on time? Yes, I was in charge of putting together the music for a commercial for the state of Washington, and our producer mistook the deadline by a whole week. So a week-long project turned into a day-long project, but we just made the choices we had to make with the time that we had to make them. So you can keep going down this rabbit hole and get as much experience and as much practice in this mock interview as you would like. I just have one more different example I want to show you. So now I'm going to tell ChatGPT to please ignore all previous instructions so we can restart for our second example. I want you to role play as an interviewer and interviewee for the music supervisor job at Lionsgate Productions. And this just gives you a different look at the interviewer-interviewee process where you can read some suggested answers for the interviewee role. So hopefully you can see how you can be better prepared for your next job interview. Now we're going to have ChatGPT help us in emailing a potential employer. Please create an email that I would receive from a potential employer for a job opportunity at Lionsgate. Amazing. So you could have ChatGPT help build your resume, act as a mock interview, and finally send you an example invitation letter for your job here at Lionsgate. Now write an email to a potential employer about getting a potential interview for a job as a music supervisor at Lionsgate. Add to the email my strengths. I'm a quick learner, adaptable, 12 years in music production. Mention I have my work attached and I'm an expert in Ableton. Great, so you can see we've written a potential email for the music supervisor role at Lionsgate. As a music production professional with over 12 years of experience, I've developed a strong set of skills and expertise in the industry. My strengths include being a quick learner and adaptable, which I believe would be valuable in a dynamic environment like Lionsgate. That's great. There's a lot of usable content here, and I honestly could probably use this entire email. Now, let's say I actually met with the person who's hiring for this role, and I talked to them a little bit, and I know that they're a fan of the Beatles, and since we have that personal connection, I want this email to be a little bit less formal. Let's see what ChatGPT can do to help. The person the email is written for is a fan of the Beatles. Please add a relatable reference sentence. Can be slightly less formal. Write 2 emails. Now you can see that we have 2 different options here. The first one is an email where we reference the Beatles right here as a direct quote from some of their lyrics. The second email, we just mentioned that we are also a huge fan of the Beatles and the way that their music transcends time and connects with people of all ages. The tone of both of these emails is clearly more relaxed and a little bit more friendly while still retaining the professional standard needed for a potential employer. And I really hope you can see how helpful ChatGPT can be for generating email ideas and giving you options and things to choose
Thanks
from.
for watching the video till the end. Please leave your thoughts below so we can discuss more about the topic. If you'd like to suggest a video that could help the community, feel free to message me on X or Instagram. We also share short videos on Instagram, so make sure to follow us there. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and might even create a video based on your suggestion.